Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ACHS webinar. Let me just go through the housekeeping announcements first, if we can have that slide. So just make sure that you have a strong and stable internet. This webinar is being recorded. Please raise your hands using Zoom reactions to ask questions during the Q&A section. There will be a feedback section at the end, and we do value your feedback, so please take some time out for suggestions. And you can reach out to our staff via the Zoom chat if you have any technical issues or questions. So my name is Polian Lim. I am the lead for biorisk management at the Asia Center for Health Security, which is an academic think tank at the National University of Singapore, Soswi Hawk School of Public Health. I'm an adult ID physician by training. I work at the National Center for Infectious Diseases, as well as at the Communicable Disease Agency of Singapore, where I am a group director in charge of communicable disease programs. So this is my third hat, and in this capacity, I lead a bunch of discussions, webinars, and the fellowship program to look at deliberate events, as well as lab biosafety and biosecurity. So the Asia Center for Health Security has been launched since April of 2024. And if you are interested, you're obviously on this mailing list. Please add yourself to the mailing list if you had just gotten the forwarding of this webinar. We have several faculty who are involved in a different range of items and are mentors for the fellows. So please visit our website if you're interested in the work and activities of the Asia Center for Health Security. With that, I'd like to move to the introduction for our speaker. Our speaker today, we are honored to have Professor Weiwen Zhang. He is the Baiyang Chair Professor of Synthetic Biology at the Tianjin University, and he was instrumental in putting together the Tianjin Protocol. His area of interest in the National Key R&D Research Program for China. He's the Chief Scientist for the Synthetic Biology Program, and he's also the Deputy Director for the National Key Laboratory for Synthetic Biology of China. Dr. Zhang has worked on systems biology and synthetic biology for decades. In 2016, he founded the Tianjin University Center for Biosafety Research and Strategy to address the potential biosecurity risks related to these cutting-edge biotechnologies. So under Dr. Zhang's leadership, the center has become the premier interdisciplinary technology and policy institute for biosecurity in China. It has over 40 faculty and staff from a wide range of disciplines, including biotech, computer science, law, and management backgrounds. So I got to know Professor Zhang during the work that we did on the Pathogens Project that was sponsored by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, where a number of scientists, policymakers, researchers, clinicians, public health people got together to try to discuss some of the concerns that we have around the governance for dual-use research risks, and to try to have a ground-up sort of effort to look at these things. So it's a great pleasure and privilege for us to have Professor Zhang to speak with us today on the governance of dual-use research risks of synthetic biology and recent efforts and progress in China. So Weiwen, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation and also the kind introduction. Let me get my slide share first. Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. It's my honor to speak to the colleague here. Today I will use a title, The Governance of Dual-Use Risk Synthetic Biology, Recent Effort in China. But it's really a learning process for us. I think, in the last 10 years, and China started to look at this issue and started to make some effort to secure the research. I think that's the main topic I will introduce today. I will divide my presentation into two parts. The first part, I probably will just introduce the issue and also its scale, what's the problem over there. And the second part, I will talk about some of the example we have been doing in the last 10 years. Of course, it's still a long way to go, and a lot of things need to be done. But you will get a sense that what we are trying to do. Obviously, the synthetic biology is a very important technology, also a very important trend in the last 20 years. I think also the technology, the principle of the technology or concept some people claim that started 100 years ago by a Polish scientist. But the recent booming actually mostly started in the early 2000. I think in the last 20 years, close to 20 years, a lot of progress has been made, and then the technology has been using in many areas by pharmaceutical products, sustainable chemicals like biofuel and also gene therapy, make a lot of progress, and people started to believe that synthetic biology will revolution the traditional biotechnology industry. That's the background. And I just give you a little bit of background where the situation in China look like. The Chinese synthetic biology research started 2011. I think that's the first time the National Basic Research Program funded the project. And during the first 5 years, only like 10 projects was funded, around $3 to $4 million each. And then after the 5 years, obviously we learned a lot. And then a group of scientists, including myself, we started to work on a synthetic biology roadmap of China, which was released in 2017. That roadmap really built a foundation for what we want to do and what we needed to develop. Then quickly after this roadmap, I think National Kid R&D program built a program focused on the synthetic biology. So up to now, it's actually at the second funding cycle of 5 years. So you can see that during the first 5 years, only about 2.3 billion RMB was invested, but in the second 5 years, actually increased significantly up to 4 billion RMB. And if you look at the research focus also from fundamental, like the analyze and building the system and all that, to the capacity building along the DBTI cycle, all the facility was built in China, and also some of the great challenge, for example, working with the chemical and also natural product, which is obviously because it's very much related to the Chinese medicine. So we have a lot of work on a natural product and also some other work. So that's the academic. In the industry, actually, especially in the recent 5 years, a lot of synthetic biology was established in China. The number I have is up to now is close to 1,000 company has been built in the last 5 years. And in the last pretty much 10 years, 595 financial events, total about $13 billion has been financed for building those kind of company. One of the peak was actually 2021, about $3.6 billion was financed to support the synthetic biology research in China. And if you look at the big picture, actually starting from 2011, quickly, actually, we did a survey found that more than 1,000 institutes, based on the NSF funding, more than 1,000 institutes are working with the synthetic biology. Of course, several of them are focused on in Beijing and also the Tianjin area, and also the Shanghai and the Guangzhou and the Shenzhen area. Started building a cluster of synthetic biology research institute and the university in this area. More recently, I think almost every province of the China released their development plan for the bioeconomy. I think the bioeconomy of China will reach 22 trillion RMB by end of this year, and it's already a big chunk of the overall GDP. And they want to have more. So you can see that the map, although probably you cannot read Chinese, but each of the provinces released their own policy to encourage the developing of the biotechnology, and the synthetic biology is the core of it. So from that, you will get an understanding what's the scale of the issue we are talking about. Then we back to some of the technology issue we're really talking about today. I think I will use a couple examples. One of the work I actually published 2019 was, I think, done by Stanford University. Is they start to building the synthetic biology system in yeast cell to build the toxic compounds like carnitine. And you know that these toxic compounds, obviously, in the past, mostly are sort of regionally restricted, like in the southern part of the China and southwest of the China, and also in South Africa. And big country like China and the US spend quite some money to build a roadblock to make sure that those kind of compound will not go into the country. But now you can basically synthesize it everywhere, use a fermenter with the microbial strain. Another example that is artificial design of the COVID-19 genome, and also rescue it just in 4 months. I think the paper was published in April 2020, and the sequence was released actually just January of that year. So only in a couple of months, people use DNA sequence, they can build the virus. They don't need to have the physical sample of the virus to do that. So those kind of things are really challenging the traditional way to deal with the biorisk. And also some of the new challenge also reviewed with as the new technology making so much progress in the last 10 years. Actually, people started to identify some of the new risks. One of them I put here is the mirror-bacteria, and a group of scientists, including myself, actually last year, after many rounds of online discussion, and we have this paper published in Science, and basically ask people that if you are not familiar with the mirror-bacteria or mirror life, and you probably know that the DNA, the RNA are sort of red hand, and the amino acids are left hand. But with the new technology, scientists can actually generate a mirror molecule, mirror type of a molecule, and eventually, and if keep going, they probably can generate mirror bacteria as well. And some of the conclusion from this paper is those kind of bacteria basically will cause significant damage to the human. It will overcome the human immune system, and will also cause issue to the animal, and also it has damage to the ecosystem. So after study, we realized that, even this create a neurobiology is still a long way to go. Some people say 10 years, some people say 30 years, but still some years to go. But it's durable with the technology. Actually, it's getting probably quicker if you have more money, and also with today's technology, with the AI, probably will accelerate all the timeline. So that's the risk we are facing. So in this paper, we ask people to really pay attention to the issue, and also ask the funder to realize this issue and start funding any research towards this goal, with the goal to build a bacteria, because up to now, we have not found any evidence we can control them if these things are actually built. And of course, another issue also in the very recent years is AI. I think everybody is talking about, and obviously AI also causes a lot of, make some of the biosecurity issue we were talking about in the last 10 years more serious, and probably more difficult to deal with. Like I summarized a couple of statements here is AI actually increased the possibility of unintentional misuse, because sensors are getting so quick, and so fast, then probably will be difficult to control if you don't have the policy and the technology in place early. And at the same time, AI also reduce the barrel for the deliberate abuse, the terrorists. They use the technology, they can easily get the protocol and the process, and even where to find all the chemicals, all that kind of information online. So we need to be more careful about that. And of course, the AGI, which has not been fully developed yet. Some people say 3 years, some people say 5 years, but eventually it will come, I believe. And AGI hopefully will generate a new biology knowledge, which will be good for the good purpose. But at the same time, I think it will also challenge a lot of our defense system, because all our bio-defense system are based on the biological knowledge and the principle we learned in the last, many decades. If those kind of new knowledge come up, then we will have to adjust all the system to deal with them. So those are the challenges. But again, I think technology security and the governance are not new. It's actually, if you think about the nuclear science, it's in 1946 when it first come up. Scientists actually take the lead and come up with a suggestion, and eventually the U.S. President Truman signed the Atomic Energy Act in 1946, and it became gradually the whole world built a system to deal with nuclear risk. I think it's the similar thing also happened in the biosystem as well. I think in 1974 at the Arsenema, a group of scientists actually started to raising the arm for people working with recombinant DNA. And of course, 15 years later, we meet again actually this year in our cinema to talk about the issue. And then we realize with the progress of synthetic biology and many other related technology, our issue is getting more serious. We need to work together, try to build a system to make sure that the technology will generate benefit, not cause any big harm to the world. So from now, I will go to my sort of second part, is really what we have been doing and what we are thinking along that line. And I will be talking about from the policy and the technology solution and of course, international collaboration for those kind of work. Really not a single country working is enough. I think, infection, disease, and the virus risk are really across the boundary and the border. So we need to work together. And of course, we realize the education are also a very important part of that. So the policy-wise, I think in China, we actually, the first the policy related to this work is 2016 is a safety management guideline for biotechnology R&D, which is the first one actually address the issue related to the technology. And of course, it was implemented 2017, and a couple of years later, China biosecurity law, and also a group of scientists working very hard and make sure that in this law actually has one chapter dedicated to the issue related to the cutting edge technology, which is chapter 4, and the security of biotechnology on the end application. And of course, with the recent AI, I think, everybody is talking about. I also mentioned that, it's really sort of integrated together with the AI application, obviously very, very obvious for synthetic biology, whether it's design and learning process, it's all AI based now. So what we need to be more careful with some of the risk. And recently, I think July of this year in the World AI Conference in Shanghai, and my group and working with a company called Crocodile AI, we released a book, a statement, working with asking for the responsible science in AI bio domain, and also some of the technical suggestion on that. So that's, and recently we also started working with some of the AI company, try to really look at some of the large language model in China and what we can make them sort of bi-risk proof for that purpose. And for the technical solution, of course, as scientists, we always said that, I mean, if we have problem, then we develop a new technology. So which may be true, or I mean, may not be true, but that's what we are doing. I think we have been asking to actually, along with the very significant investment in synthetic biology in China, maybe we should also have some of the biosecurity, biosafety research along the line at the same time. So at 2021, we finally get a grant approved, which is the first in China, focus on the biosafety and the biosecurity of synthetic biology, and which actually will be ending this year. We are hoping to renew it for another 5 years. So for this project, actually, we want to build a knowledge management platform for synthetic biology and also develop the tools to analyze the data and eventually implement develop policy and implement the policy, and of course also including the public trust and along with other things. The project was led by the Tianjin University with Fudan University and several institutes from Chinese Academy of Science and also Chinese Academy of Military Medical Science. Just a very quick overview. So we already finished a knowledge-based platform from synthetic biology. It's not fully online, open yet, but can be used internally. And also we have all the sort of like different type of data integrated together, and also develop some tools to look at the data. I think we actually just finished the first 5 years. This tool will be released to the, for now, just being used by the government and also the scientists and some scientists. Eventually, we want to have a little bit open access to all. And another thing we've been working is the DNA synthesis screening. I think, I mean, this issue has been raised in China for, I mean, at least 4 or 5 years ago, but it didn't get much of attention. But I realized that, I mean, with all the work outside China, I think, again, this issue started to receive attention. I think it just give you a quick look at the situation. I think the global DNA synthesis market is probably around 7 billion RMB. And just look at the money size. China is probably close to 1 billion RMB. But in terms of the amount of DNA synthesis, because the price in China is only a quarter of the price in the West, European or US. So actually China generates close to 40% of the total DNA among the global. So we recently finished a report, internal report. We look at all the issue and we're talking with all the company and finish a report to see what we need, what's the status now and what we need to do. And we found that in terms of the tool and the database and also the protocol-wise, procedure-wise, and a lot of things need to be optimized in China, and also even the shipping and when you're shipping the DNA out, there's no regulation at all in China. So just like a regular, you will order online, it will send to you, whether it's toxic or infection disease DNA, that's just no regulation. So we are working on that, also collaborating with some of our collaborators outside China. And eventually, this is a slide we have been pushing right now. I think, I mean, if you look through the DBTI cycle, actually, we are thinking that if we want to really do that, we want to have a sort of full circle tools available to deal with the issue from the design phase. Of course, the biological design to need to be taken into consideration the biosecurity issue. And at the building phase, then the DNA synthesis screening people are already talking about. At the testing phase, whether we should go with a biocontainment strategy to deal with some of the DNA or strain, that's also something we've been working. And of course, at the learning phase, I think AI is the thing need to be taken into consideration. So I've been pushing to see whether China can be have a large program set up to basically around this circle to build a full set of tools to deal with the issue. That's our goal. We are working on that. Then global policy and the collaboration. And I mentioned that in 2016, we working with the domestic partner and also working with the different ministry of the China and implement the first policy in China. Then we quickly realized that it's not just the issue in China. I think globally, almost every country will be facing similar issues. So along that line, we wrote a proposal to the Biological Weapon Convention and working with proposed eventually by the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs along with the Pakistan government. That's 2016 and 2022. We after some revision, we proposed this to the meeting, the all-party meeting. Now, of course, to push that, I think my team and our collaborator has been working with the BWC and several other organizations, really push that and been there many, many times and try to advocate and provide all the necessary information to the policymaker so they can understand the issue. And eventually, I think during the NICE review conference, the Tianjin Biosecurity Guideline was highly welcomed by the all-party conference. And in China, I think also the government also put a very high attention to this document. In the recent Global Security Initiative concept paper, China basically built a system around this Tianjin Biosecurity Guideline for the biorisk, how to deal with the biorisk. And another thing we've been working with is the sort of track to a global policy and collaboration. I think at a very early time, we realized that the issue were cross-border. I think we need collaboration with our international collaborator colleague. So one of the significant work we have been done is working with the Johns Hopkins Center for Global Health. And we actually have a very good track to dialogue in 2019 in Washington, D.C. At that time, we were thinking to build that back to Beijing 2020. Then, of course, COVID come. That didn't happen. I'm still talking with our collaborator in Johns Hopkins. Hopefully, we can overcome some of the issue we are facing and keep that going. So that's just a quick overview. I think actually for that conference, and we generate a very good report, and we translate into Chinese as well, and was highly, accepted, very well accepted by the ministry, and the people are really looking at some of the comments and the suggestion for this document. I think in the US as well. I think Johns Hopkins Center also sent the document to many of the organization in the US. So that's, I think it's one of the outcome. And we've been also part of the US Track 2 dialogue and with the NTI and several other organizations. I think this is the one, the only one right now. I'll keep going. I think middle of next month, NTI team will come back to Beijing and we will have a Track 2 dialogue. One of the focus will be, I think, the AI, and I think also probably DNA synthesis screening will be also among the discussion item. So that's always good to have the discussion and the dialogue ongoing between major country, especially the country with a significant investment in the synthetic biology. And another one is not, for my knowledge, is not ongoing right now, but it's actually a very nice one. It's the Chinese Academy of Science and also the working with the National Academy of Science. That dialogue has been very much focused on the technology. I think not some policy, but I would say mostly focused on the technology collaboration. But unfortunately, it's not ongoing anymore right now. I'm hoping that Chinese Academy of Science and the National Academy of Science of the US, they can come up with a good solution to resume that dialogue. But I think those kind of dialogue are really helpful and for both countries to learn from each other and understand the not just the policy, but also the situation and also the solution. So we can all on the same page to deal with those kind of issues. Then, of course, recently, I think I just mentioned neurobiology work has been globally. I think there are a couple meeting has been organized in a cinema and in Paris, in Paris early this year, and also in Manchester University. I think became growing scientific consensus that neurobiology need to be stopped, at least not encouraged to do anything. I think the UK government and also several other organizations are really started thinking to put a ban on the funding. And also a lot of discussion both in different conference, Paris conference, Manchester workshop, and also in China at the National Health Commission meeting. We've been talking about what can be done and what can be do to make sure that some kind of those kind of the risk which we don't have the tool to deal with shall not be happen for at least for the first place. And I'm also glad that we will have a neurobiology discussion, I think supported by the Asia Center of Health Security next year in Singapore. I think that will be a very good time to, again, for us to meet and also talk about the issue. My last part is the education. I think when we start this work, one of the things, obviously, very obvious to us is we don't have expertise. I mean, including ourselves, we are learning that, and we don't have people understand the issue and understand the history and also the current situation. So during the peak of the COVID, I initiate a cross-campus education program at the Tianjin University. Actually, very well accepted. Up to now, we already put through 3,500 students out of the education training program. And interestingly, most of them are not from a bio background. Most of them from law background, law school, and management school, and the computer science school. So which are really very good, and at least to me, because eventually when they get to the working force, they may not focus on the biosecurity, but some understanding of the situation will be always good. And of course, then after a couple of years of effort, and my team have all the teaching material. We don't have any teaching material at the very beginning when we start this course, and so we only have, a couple of very simple slides we made for this particular course. But at the end of this, earlier this year, we have a book published dedicated to this area. Actually, this will be the first university level textbook, and published, I think it's April of this year. And of course, you can imagine that center and ourselves as a leading in the biosecurity research and also education, we were invited to give training and a course to the local government and the different organizations very often. I think we are very proud of that work, especially during the COVID. I think almost everyone asked questions, but not getting the right answer. So my team went out to different provinces and went on to the different stage to give the sort of correct answer, and also the sort of situation assessment to people. I think that's helped a lot, for even to deal with the disease. My final slide will be, I think we are not just focused on work in China. We are also working with some of, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we actually facilitate some of the international working and training program. I think this is a couple example that, and the bottom one is the one organized by the Wuhan Institute of Virology, has been there for more than probably close to 10 years. And we have been a regular lecturer and to the international scholar over there almost every year. I think also start to help us building international collaboration in many other countries. And I think it's really a mutual benefit over there. Okay, I will stop my presentation by give a very quick summary here. That's the first one is the dual use risk of synthetic biology really worth attention. I think I've been asking that the country really put put a very significant investment into this area, even put 5% of money to study the risk will worth your money. I think more people agree with me than 10 years ago. I think that's the good thing. And also, I quickly introduce some of our effort in terms of policy, technology, education, and of course, many also working with our foreign colleagues. And finally, I think one thing I like to highlight is our engagement in the global dialogue. I think it's also important, and China is the global south. I think before our team, I will say that very few people from the global south participate into the dialogue at the global stage, and whether it's UN or other global stage. I think we really hope that scientists and the policymakers can be part of the global dialogue and really speak to the issue we are all facing. I think that will be good for everyone and good for the whole world. I will stop here and thank you very much for the attention.